Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. I'm warning you right now, if you haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, then you need to stop watching this review right now. This video is going to be filled with spoilers and my thoughts on the movie, so this is your first and final warning. You better get out. I was somewhat excited about this set when it was announced a few days ago, but also a little bummed. Ghostbusters is my all-time favorite movie, and the real Ghostbusters is not just my favorite cartoon, but also one of my favorite TV shows, period. The character of Egon Spengler really helped Ghostbusters become the cultural phenomenon that it became, and I think Harold Ramis did such an amazing job in both those movies. He acts completely different than any other character I've ever seen him play. And, to me, that's how I always thought he was. And then you see other movies like Stripes, and you're like, wow, I can't believe this is the same guy, He was an incredible actor and comedian. And I thought Ghostbusters Afterlife seemed like such a nice tribute and, send-off to both Egon and Harold Ramis. For a while, I always thought that, a CGI Egon would be a bad idea. But they really managed to win me over when I got done watching that movie. When he showed up helping Phoebe blast Gozer with the Proton pack, I was like, yeah, that's great. And then even his interactions with the other three Ghostbusters just seemed, really nice. So in all honesty, I'm a little iffy on this guy because where I saw the film as a tribute, I'm not sure if maybe this action figure might be a little bit of bad taste or something. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too cynical or something like that. It just kind of sucks out all the heartfelt ending of that movie when now you package Egon up and sell him as a Target exclusive. They probably also should have waited a month to release this because, it's only been 1 week since the movie came out, and surely this is going to spoil it for a lot of people. I may be being too much of a Debbie Downer, and I get that, My point here is not to bring you down if you were excited about getting this action figure. Like I said, I'm on the fence about it a little bit, teeter-tottering back and forth how I feel about it. In all honesty, I'm probably going to put this Egon on my desk next to my computer where he can just kind of hang out while I work on my art projects and stuff like that. I think it is a cool action figure. I'm just kind of a little iffy on the intentions, I guess. So as I mentioned, this 2-pack is a Target exclusive, and it had a street date of November 28th, which was today. I got this because I went to both of my Targets this morning and couldn't find it. But then throughout the day, I kept on seeing on Facebook, people posting, oh, I went to my Target, I didn't see them on the shelf. So I asked people, I asked the toy aisle people, and they went in the back and got it for me. So I was like, oh, geez, I have to ask for this? So I called up my Target and asked, hey, do you have any of those, Ghostbusters 2-packs? And they were like, oh, yeah, we have a bunch in the back. Just come on in and we'll grab one for you. So I ran on up and got it. So my advice to you is if you went to your Targets and you couldn't find this, either call them up and ask or go in there and ask the people in the toy aisle. Apparently, for some reason, they're holding them in the back. I don't know if maybe they just didn't know the right date to put them out on the shelves or what. This set cost $50. It was $49.95 or something like that, which makes sense because all the other plasma figures are $22.99. I'm at a point now where I'm sort of getting super annoyed with Target exclusives and Walmart exclusives and all that kind of stuff because Phoebe was such an integral part of that movie. She was super important. She's pretty much the main character of the whole film. So everybody would want to get Phoebe, and then you make her the Target exclusive. That is crappy because a bunch of scalpers are going to go buy this 2-pack and try to put it up on eBay and sell it for $200 or something stupid like that. It's a shame. You should make these characters available for everybody and stop, playing these games with us. All right, so once again, got to get past all the negative Nancy stuff here. All right, so this 2-pack does look really cool. All the accessories that you can see in this giant window here look fantastic. I really like that is the Spengler Neutron Wand from the film and the one that, we got last year from Hasbro. And I'm really glad that the Proton pack here has the removable like cyclotron cover or whatever you call it, which is also really awesome because if you saw that movie, it was cool when she finally, when she opened it up and you finally got to see what was inside the Proton pack. And I think it's amazing that Hasbro is releasing a full scale, like 1-to-1 Proton pack that I am definitely going to pre-order soon. All right, on the side here, you have a nice shot of Phoebe blasting the Proton pack. That was when she shot it for the first time, I think. Or is that when she's riding the Ecto? I can't remember. And then up here, you have a very nice illustration of Egon as a ghost. I should also mention that the packaging for this matches all the packaging in this Plasma Series line, where you have the fabric of the Ghostbusters uniform. You have this very cool-looking patch down here where it just says, "The family that busts together." That's nice. On this side, there is nothing. On the back here, there's actually a very nice shot of Egon standing next to Phoebe. That was such an awesome moment in the film. In my theater, when I saw this movie, when people saw Egon's hand on Phoebe's hand, like, helping her control the Proton pack, like kids were cheering and like people were like clapping and stuff. And like it was cool because people were all excited. People were excited to actually see the three Ghostbusters, three living Ghostbusters there. And then eventually it turned where a bunch of people in my theater like started to cry, whenever he was having those nice little moments with his family and stuff like that. So, it was a very touching movie, and I was actually more excited to see Ghostbusters than I've been to see any movie in the past, 15 years or so. So I thought the ending of this movie really delivered, and I was, like I said, I was happy to see this like amazing looking CGI Harold Ramis. Like I can't even believe how nice it looked. All right, so the back here it says Phoebe's love of science and affinity for busting ghosts runs in the family. She's got Spengler blood, after all. And then it says that again a bunch of more times in different languages that I can't read. All right, so I'm going to open this set up now and move these guys around. Hasbro usually does a pretty decent job with their joints. I never really have any breaking or anything like that, so I'm sure everything will be fine, and I will talk to you in a second. Real quick, before I talk about these awesome action figures, I do want to point out that behind these guys, you have some new like schematics and stuff like that. Some of the old Plasma figures, they would have different things in the background behind them, like the Ecto, or I think like the Ghost Trap, the Proton Pack, and whatever else. But here you have some stuff from Ghostbusters Afterlife, such as Egon's fungus collection here, Egon's house. And it looks like you just have a bunch of like like his electronic setup or whatever he had set up that controlled all the traps on his farmhouse. And then also the Proton pack here where you can actually see the cyclotron inside the pack. So here they are, fresh out of the package. And I think these look pretty awesome. In all honesty, I have not really bought all the Ghostbusters Afterlife action figures. Just for some reason, I just felt like I didn't need to or something like that. Plus, I also saw a Toy Shiz's review of the three guys, and they had like gigantic heads. But once I saw Peter Venkman, like I had to pick him up, So there's not much I can really compare these guys to the rest of the figures in this wave other than Peter Venkman, which I'll compare Egon with him in a little bit. So I don't know how the body, like proportionally, how all the other kids look next to Phoebe here. I don't know how they all scale with Egon, but it looks like Phoebe here looks pretty decent next to Egon, She definitely looks like a little kid. She doesn't look like weird. Like sometimes when toy companies try to make smaller action figures, like they get a little goofy and stuff like that. She actually looks pretty decent. She actually looks like a little kid who's wearing a pair of clothes that are way too big for her. And just all the accessories in this set are amazing. Like there's some things here that I think are a definite if you're collecting this line, especially that extra terror dog head. I haven't seen anybody even mention that yet, but that's pretty awesome, and I'll talk about that in a little bit once I get to accessories. But first, let's talk about Phoebe. All right, so Phoebe was pretty much the main character of Ghostbusters Afterlife, as you probably know since you didn't leave because you probably saw the movie. And I thought she did an amazing job, you know, and not to dump on Ghostbusters 2016, because that's not what I'm here to do, but I felt like she was funnier and more charismatic than the four comedians in that movie. So sorry about that. I know some people love that movie, but in my opinion, it was just, I don't know, just didn't do anything for me. I felt like that this Ghostbusters Afterlife movie was a pretty good successor to those original two Ghostbusters movie, and I feel like the actress, I think her name is McKenna Grace or something like that, I felt like she did an amazing job of acting like Egon, pretty much. I mean, she was pretty much the Egon character. I mean, Ghostbusters Afterlife is sort of like a reboot in disguise as like a sequel or something like that. So she was really good in the movie, and I think this likeness is really good. I think the hair matches how her hair looks in the show pretty well. Like I said, I think that her suit actually looks like it's very baggy. You know, it doesn't look weird. Like, it actually looks like it's cloth that's draped on top of her tiny body. Because you know, you gotta take into consideration she's wearing Egon's jumpsuit, and Egon's a big guy, you know. So she has a belt here, which is pretty nice. There's a little hole there, so you can actually stick the taser PKE meter. But because it has all the PKE meters in this line have this little peg, you can stick any regular PKE meter on her belt, which is good because, I mean, she mostly used the PKE meter throughout that whole movie. But yeah, it looks good. I like how Hasbro does the glasses. You know, they don't put like a little clear lens or anything like that inside of there. They leave it completely open, and they look so much better than most action figure glasses look. Phoebe has some simple articulation. She actually has less points than the Ghostbusters have in this line, but it'll all work out for you. And hopefully the Proton Pack and the Neutron Wand will, you know, sit in her hands comfortably, you know. Hopefully it doesn't look strange. All right, so her head is on a ball joint, so you can't really look up too far or down, but you can twist it around pretty well. The shoulders have a swivel and a hinge. You have single jointed elbows, which hinge and also have a swivel. Now, I don't think that her wrists have a hinge. It looks like there's nothing in there. I think that they can just swivel around. Yeah, it looks like both of them cannot hinge. All right, so you have 1 point of articulation in the waist area here. That's like a ball joint. So you can actually get her to bend forward and bend back pretty well, bend side to side, and somewhat spin around. I mean, these shapes are ovals, so you won't be able to spin her around too much. She's got, like, I don't know if you call them ball jointed hips, but you can rotate forward to the side. They can't really, I mean, they rotate around a little bit, but not much on that ball in there. She has a thigh cut, so you can spin them all the way around. She's got double jointed knees. The knees are, I feel like the Ghostbuster double jointed knees are strange because they all wear baggy pants, and it just really makes that knee look awkward. I don't think her feet have anything. No, it doesn't look like there's any kind of articulation inside of her foot. All right, so hopefully getting the Proton Pack on her back is pretty easy. These Proton Packs, they open up here. That way you can just slip her arm in the one side, try to get her head underneath that strap. She's got a hole in the back, and there's a peg on the Proton Pack, so you can plug that in there, and then, you know, close it down here in the bottom again. You need to move the straps around a little bit. That way you can get her belt pushed up here so you're able to get that hole there to put the PKE meter. I think it's hilarious just how big this Proton Pack is compared to her. Just like in the movie, you know, it was gigantic on top of her back. But look at the details inside the Proton Pack. Look at the cyclotron. That's pretty awesome. I really can't wait until it's like 2023 or something like that. I think it's that long. You got to wait until you can get the Hasbro pack. That's ridiculous, but the wait, I hope, will be worth it. All right, so you got the cyclotron cover here. You can easily plug that in. That's good. The Neutron Wand came separately, so you can just put that wire in the bottom. Now, the real test here. Will she be able to hold this? All right. We shall see. We shall see. Well, at least one hand can grip that pretty well, so hopefully we can get a two-handed pose. I'll be honest with you, I'm actually pretty amazed. I'm pretty amazed that she's able to hold this with two hands like this. This, you know, sometimes companies have a hard time getting regular-sized action figures to hold accessories with two hands. It's amazing that this little tiny character is able to hold this Neutron Wand with both hands. All in all, I think this is a very nice action figure. You know, she's able to hold the wand correctly. I mean, that's just great. And her likeness is close. Very close. I also kind of think this action figure looks a little bit like Luna from Harry Potter. But, you know, maybe that's just me. Boy, could you imagine being a kid in a Ghostbusters movie and having a toy made of you? That would be so cool. Almost as cool as having a character named Gary in a Ghostbusters movie. I can't believe it. It's like my mind suggestion powers finally worked. Now all I gotta do is make them name the villain in the new Ghostbusters movie, Raz. Now let's talk about Egon. As I said before, I think this action figure looks really awesome. And if you have any of the past Ghostbusters Plasma Series figures, you know exactly what you're getting. He pretty much has the same exact body as all the Ghostbusters, except now, since he's a ghost of an old man, he's got a little bit of a gut. You know, I think they gave him Ray's torso because the original Egon Spangler was, you know, he's pretty flat. He's pretty skinny back then. But other than that, everything is exactly the same. Now just in translucent purple and blue plastic, which looks pretty awesome. As I said before, you know, is this a little weird? Have an action figure of a CGI character who's supposed to be an actor who's been passed away? Seems like that's a little bit weird, but I'm a little glad that they did it. I mean, now, like, you do have all four Ghostbusters from Ghostbusters Afterlife. You know, it would have been maybe even a little more sad if your shelf only had the three guys. Now you have this, which is, you know, I would hope that this is supposed to be a very nice tribute and not just a cash grab. But yeah, like, this does look cool. Like I said, the translucent plastic looks awesome. Like, I really like it. You can see, like, the joints and stuff like that inside of his body, like how everything connects. But that's always something that I think is pretty cool about translucent plastic. I don't know. It's pretty neat. Whoa. The paint on the face looks really nice. It's very nice and clean, which is good. I may have preferred them to paint his face in shades of blue, because in the film he appears blue, you know, like it's like here he's got like regular skin complexion. So you kind of, sometimes I look at him and I just kind of see like a guy who's like maybe came out of like a coal mine or something like that. Like his face is clean, but the rest of his body is all very dark. So that is just like a minor nitpick. I actually think that the likeness on this face looks a lot better than the original Wave 1 Ghostbusters plasma figure. I think his nose looks a lot better than the original Egon action figure. You can definitely tell, in my opinion anyway, it looks as though that this head was, you know, originally this head, and they kind of added like the bigger hair and the beard and stuff like that. But maybe they adjusted the nose a little bit to try to make it look more like Harold Ramis. You know, this was a pretty decent likeness of Harold, but I do think his nose was maybe a little pointier on this action figure than in real life. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit too of Maddie's Egon, but you know, probably the Hasbro Egon is better than that one. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I do think it kind of looks like him. It's just a neat effect that like his face is painted and like the back of his head is all translucent plastic. I don't know. This is, like I said, it's a very cool looking action figure, and I will definitely stick this next to me or next to my computer on my work desk. He does have a peg hole in his back, just in case you want to put a proton pack on him and have him team up with the Ghostbusters again. That would actually might be a little helpful. Did you ever see the episode of The Real Ghostbusters, Egon's Ghost, where they thought Egon was killed, but they sent him to a different dimension, and he kind of came back as a ghost, and he was helping the Ghostbusters find ghosts because he, was sort of on their level. That was a pretty awesome episode. I actually wrote when the Ghostbusters 2016 movie came out, and I was unhappy with it, I wrote an idea of what I thought a true Ghostbusters 3 should be, and mine was sort of like that. It was sort of based on Egon's ghost. If you ever want to look it up, you can still find my synopsis on the forums of gbfans.com. Maybe one of these days I should make a video where I talk about it. I don't know. I had a feeling you'd show up. Is that what he said? Man, what an incredible moment in that film. Just seeing all the four guys back together again. I never thought I would see that in my lifetime, Especially with Bill Murray being so uninterested in Ghostbusters. Since getting this Peter Venkman and getting Egon, I have decided to buy Ray and buy Winston, and probably eventually I'll get the kids, but I can't have just two of these guys and not have all four of them. I do think that Peter Venkman's head here is like way too big. This is a brand new sculpt. It's not really taken from that original Peter Venkman sculpt. It's all brand new and really, really big. I know when you get older, your head gets bigger, but I mean, this is a little too big. But because Egon, I think, is, built off of that original Wave 1 head, his head is still like regular sized. It doesn't look too big or anything like that, except for that giant hair. He's got a lot of hair. All right, so for articulation, Egon has the standard Plasma Series Ghostbusters articulation that you've seen 7 times before this, all right? You have a ball-jointed neck. You have swivels and a hinge in the shoulder. You have a bicep cut here. You have double-jointed elbows, like so. You have a swivel and a hinge in the wrist. You only have 1 point of articulation in the torso, which is right at the belt here. So you can you can't really get them to bend too much forward and back, but you can kind of turn them a little bit. I don't know, it seems a little stiff there. I kind of don't want to push it too much because I don't know if this translucent plastic is any more brittle than the regular Ghostbusters action figures. It's got ball jointed hips, so you can move them all in whatever direction you want. You have a cut in the thigh here, so you can spin that around. And you have double jointed knees. But, I don't know. Ghostbuster double jointed knees are just no es bueno for me. And then down at the foot here, you have a hinge and you have ankle rockers. Overall, I think this action figure is pretty cool. I do like the translucent plastic. I think it's a pretty well done action figure, for what it is. I just think the whole idea is just a little strange, I guess, Never in my entire life did I ever think that I would get a ghost Egon Spangler or a ghost Harold Ramis. It just seems kind of strange. All right, so now we get to talk about accessories, and first we're going to talk about the Proton pack. Phoebe's Proton pack actually looks a little nicer than the Wave 1 Ghostbusters action figures. A little bit. There is more stuff painted on this one. The ribbon, is still a flat color, not like an actual ribbon. But it is a little different, all right? So, this ribbon is actually sculpted differently. This clip up right here around the ribbon is different on both of these action figures. Other than that, most of the details are the same. Yeah, the biggest difference and what I think looks a little better is that the cyclotron actually sticks out on this brand new Proton pack. The original one was way too flat, and yeah, that just is not correct, So I think that looks better here, how it sticks out like that, and the bumper, fits around the Proton pack pretty nice. So I don't know. It's pretty good. I don't know if I would recommend buying multiples of Phoebe just so you could try to give your Ghostbusters Proton packs that actually stick out like this. Although you could, all you'd have to do is detach this Neutron Wand and attach this one. The actual Neutron Wand is a little different. You have this wooden piece right here. You have the tape in the back grip area. Some of these things are painted a little differently. I don't know. It looks okay though. It does have this little knob on the front here, so you can put the proton stream. Underneath the details look pretty good. Yeah, everything looks fine. Up next, you have the brand new Proton stream. This actually looks pretty cool. I don't remember. Is it a different color in the film? Why is this purple? I don't remember exactly. The original Proton stream was like blue and orange. But it's cool. It's nice having a brand new color. You can just stick it on the front of a Neutron Wand like that, and you are good and ready to go bust some ghosts. Up next, you have this ghost taser. Remember, Egon used that in the beginning of the film. Well, he was going to use it against one of the pterodogs before he passed away. And then I know they brought this back later, but I don't remember exactly what they did with it. Phoebe can hold this okay. Her hand is a little stretched out now that I've been putting the Proton or the Neutron Wand in it. You can easily... Maybe not. I was going to say you could easily plug it into her belt. You can when these straps aren't here. When you got the straps here, they cause too much of a force. They push this thing out. So if you were hoping to have her have a regular PKE meter on her belt while she's walking around holding her Neutron Wand, that's not going to be a easy task. Egon can hold this taser extremely well. It fits in his hand perfectly. I guess this is one of those things where he could be like, I'll use this PKE meter not only to find you ghosts, but also to kill you again. Up next, you have this little tiny rook, this little tiny chess piece. Good luck not losing this thing. This thing is small. I pretty much left it in a few places already, just forgetting that it existed because it's so tiny. In the film, of course, Phoebe plays chess with Egon while he's a ghost. I really did like all that stuff. Her interactions with Egon before she even, figured out who and what he was exactly. Up next, you have a jar of fungus or molds or spores. They probably should have made this yellow. I think it's more of a yellow color whenever Phoebe is in Egon's laboratory. But it is really cool. It's a nice little, touch in that movie to see his actual collection of spores, molds, and fungus. I think when it's pink like this, it almost appears like it's mood slime. But it looks pretty good. The bottom of it is hollow. Up next, you have a really awesome accessory. I didn't even know this was packed in here. And when I saw the pterodog head in the bottom of the box, I was like, why would they just give you a pterodog head? What's the point of that? And then I looked at it closer and I was like, oh, holy crap. They're fixing their, pterodog mistake. Now, this is something that I actually talked about twice. I talked about it when I did my review of Tully's Terrible Night. And I also talked about it when I did my 4-part Ghostbusters movie toy retrospective, where I talked about who made the best Ghostbuster toys of all time. Well, the best movie Ghostbuster toys, took me a long time to make it. If you've never seen that, check it out, because I compared the Maddie set, the Diamond Select toys, and also the first wave of the Hasbro Plasma series. Anyways, in those videos, I mentioned that if you bought Wave 1 of the Plasma series, they gave you the Vince Clortho Pterodog head. He's got longer horns. And then if you bought the Tully's Terrible Night, Hasbro exclusive box set, you got another Vince Clortho head. And I was like, why would they do that? If you were going to have the Build-A-Figure, you should have given it the Zool head, because they have different shaped horns. And I thought you should have had Vince Clortho in the Tully set. But now, you finally have the Zool head. This is great, This is like Hasbro finishing some unfinished business. I think this is awesome. You know, finally you can have Vince Clortho and Zool on your shelf if you don't have like the Diamond Select Pterodogs or the NECA Pterodogs from way back when. You might have a hard time finding this because it is a Target exclusive, but it's still awesome. You know, this is like Hasbro righting some wrongs. You know, Hasbro, I'm going to take back some of the things I said about you. You earned it. I don't know. I may take that crunch bar back. If you look at this brand new Zool head, it definitely is a lot smaller than the Vince Clortho head. I don't know for sure if the Zool head was actually smaller in the movie or not. I don't remember noticing any difference whatsoever. You know, and if you look at the Vince Clortho head, it's a pretty decent size. It fits pretty well with the body proportionately, like it doesn't look silly or goofy. You know, I don't think it's the best looking Pterodog head. I think that probably NECA or Diamond Select did it the best. But if you look at this new Zool head, it might appear like too small, to the point where it's maybe kind of strange on this body. I don't know. I wasn't too excited when I saw in the trailers that Gozer was going to return in Afterlife. One of my favorite things about the Ghostbusters is, you know, they could fight literally anything, you know. They could fight devils and demons and ghosts and demigods and, like, anything supernatural, they can fight it and they always win. So it seemed to me a little redundant to have them fight Gozer again. But man, when I saw Gozer in this film, I was like, holy crap! You know, that Gozer looks amazing. Just the way the body was formed and how it, like, lit up underneath, like, its skin or whatever that was. It was just amazing. I would hope that they make some kind of action figure of that Gozer. You know, the original bubble skin of Gozer just is nowhere near intimidating as it was in that movie. Like, Gozer looked amazing in Afterlife. So, let me know what you think. Did you see Ghostbusters Afterlife? Did you buy this 2-pack? I figured I would use this review as my excuse to also review Ghostbusters Afterlife. I liked the movie. You know, I had a good time watching it. I was engrossed. I was, you know, enticed, and I was trying to see what was going to happen next. I do agree with some of the criticisms that, you know, there were too many callbacks and Easter eggs to Ghostbusters 1. But, you know, I think that they threw those in there, not necessarily for me who's seen Ghostbusters 1 400 times, but as a way of putting these things out there for, like, the next generation. Because my theater was filled with, like, families. There were tons of kids there who probably have seen Ghostbusters a few times, but definitely not in the hundreds like me. I found Phoebe and Podcast to be the best parts of that movie. You know, I thought the two of them together, they had really good chemistry. They were funny. And, you know, I couldn't wait to see what they were doing. I think you kind of have to look at the movie a little bit like it's not a Ghostbusters movie, because the Ghostbusters are barely in it. The tone of the movie is more of like a Goonies type of movie, you know, where you're watching kids, they're discovering things, they're learning like some kind of lore that, you know, they didn't know about. So all in all, I did enjoy it, you know, I liked it. I was excited to see it. And after I left, I was like, man, I need to get this thing on DVD because I needed to see it again. It also made me want to buy these giant-headed plasma action figures. And I guess I probably will pick up the kids too. I feel kind of silly buying the kids because to me that almost kind of makes me feel like I'm buying kids' toys, you know, instead of collector toys. But yeah. So talk to you later and have a good one.